Aloha, everybody. It is I, the Great Clement, and now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a flash from the past. Sega! Oh, I missed that. I missed that so much. I haven't heard that since, well, the Genesis games. Since Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Oh, that's why. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are tackling Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Sonic the Hedgehog 4, Episode 1. One of the most anticipated Sonic games of all time, dare I say one of the most controversial Sonic games of all time. And this game came out long after Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which debuted back in 1994. No, Sonic 4 came out in 2010. And after the Dark Age and after all the string of 3D games, you gotta imagine this was kind of a big deal, you know? This game was a major big deal, and some are divided on it. Now, the story of the game is very basic, it's very simple. Dr. Eggman, he's kidnapping animals, he's putting them into robots, he wants to get the Chaos Emeralds to build Eggman Land. You're Sonic. You're a hedgehog with attitude. Go stop him. That's it. That's it. No shattering the earth to get some kind of dark Gaia monster. There's no manuscripts of an ancient god. There's no crazy elaborate plot twists. Eggman's kidnapped animals. He's put them into robots. Go stop him! Just like it was back in Sonic 1, Sonic 2, all the Game Gear, like, classic Sonic games, you know, the traditional way it was when we were kids. This is a great throwback title to the way things used to be back in the 90s. It's a 2D game for the consoles. It's not a handheld game, not for the DS, it's not for your PSP. This is an Xbox 360, Wii, PlayStation 3, Steam game that you're going to be playing on your TV screen, you know? And it's got the traditional Sonic that you used to love on the Genesis. It's 2D, he jumps into Badniks, he hits item boxes to get rings and extra lives. There are checkpoints with the familiar ding sound, you know? You hit springs, you fight Badniks. Proper Badniks! Can I just mention how kind of a revelation this was, that regular old Badniks from the 90s were back again? You gotta remember, guys, the Sonic series sort of abandoned Badniks for such a long time. Like in Shadow the Hedgehog you fought aliens, Sonic Heroes you fought egg pawns, in Sonic 06 you fought the white silvery robots and Iblis worms, and then there was Dark Gaia monsters, and then there was like the SWAT bots and weird things from Sonic Chronicles and the genie guys from Sonic and the Secret Rings and all this stuff. And to have proper Badniks like Motobugs, Caterkillers, Chompers, Slicers and stuff all over again, that was freaking great. The fact that we end the stage by running past an Eggman sign, and as we flip through it, Sonic's face is on the other side. Like, this is what we grew up on in the 90s. This is the Sonic we were exposed to in the 90s. And to get this game back was a thrill I cannot describe. I know it's not, like, as good as Sonic 2, and certainly I may be praising this game a little too much. But I want people to remember what it was like back in 2010. By the way, we're in Puke Bag Zone again. In my very first ever Let's Play of Sonic, Sonic 1, when you went into a special stage area by collecting 50 rings and going to the goal, you would go into this crazy, trippy kaleidoscope world where Sonic was constantly rolling and you had to guide him to the Chaos Emerald and avoid all the obstacles like the exit signs that you didn't want to run into. And it's pretty much the same dealio here. Sonic 4 Episode 1 brings back Puke Bag Zone. I've missed it so. We haven't seen it in a long time. And it's a little bit different in the way it handles, and this time there's actually a time limit, so it definitely operates differently because of that. But Chaos Emeralds that are optional are back. You do not need to collect the Chaos Emeralds in order to reach the end of the game or the final boss. But maybe when you collect the Chaos Emeralds, something special will happen, you know? No, not like a final ending. Not a bonus ending. Why would you think that? Why? Because like the past 15 years or so, that's all we've been getting is bonus endings for collecting the Chaos Emeralds? Why would you think that? The Sonic Advance games were perfect. Maybe we'll be getting something that we haven't seen since Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Maybe that's why you want to collect the Chaos Emeralds. I will say this game is controversial, though, mainly because One of the big problems of the game is that it's certainly a nostalgic throwback to the way things were back in the day, but that extends to pretty much every single zone, and a lot of the boss fights in the game as well. What we're playing through is Splash Hill Zone. Splash Hill is very reminiscent of Green Hill and Emerald Hill from Sonic 1, Sonic 2. Certainly we never swung on vines before in the old games, and how that works is you just move the control pad, or control stick, whichever you prefer. I prefer the pad when it comes to these kinds of games. You always play old school 2D platformers with a pad as far as I'm concerned. But you grab a vine and then you go left, right with the pad until you have so much momentum that when you jump off at the end of it, you'll go super high and you'll go where you need to go, you know? But one of the big differences between this game and the classics is that the momentum is very, 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 very different. It's one of the things people like to cry about when Sonic 4 discussion is when there's Sonic 4 discussion, you know? People always like to say, like, oh, the momentum's totally wrong, the momentum is totally fucked up, and I will agree, the momentum is different. But there is still a momentum in how you move, and when you do something other than what you expected to do, it's still a playable, totally fine game. But we're back in Puke Bag Zone again. I'm getting all the Chaos Emeralds, of course. Why wouldn't I get the Chaos Emeralds? So obviously, we have a time limit now, and that means we can't really dilly-dally. There's lots of icons that will extend your time limit if you run into them. And I'm actually collecting the rings on purpose. I'm not collecting them just because I can. I want to because they will actually unlock gates for me. Certain gates will have like a number on it. It'll say like 60 or something. And when you collect rings, the number goes down one by one with each ring you've collected. And so I need to get through. Boom! I just opened that gate just as I reached it. But that was a gate, and if I didn't collect rings along the way, it wouldn't have opened for me. I would have just bounced off of it. And so you're encouraged to get rings as you're going down so that you can open these gates. And you gotta be quick about it because there's a time limit. And of course, the buttons with the exclamation marks, you do not want to touch them, because if you touch them, you'll be going out of bounds, and that will be it. You're out of the special stage. You'll have to try again and get the Chaos Emerald some other time. What makes this different from Puke Bag Zone and Sonic 1 is, of course, you're moving the whole background around. You're not moving Sonic around. You're not tilting him left and right. You're just moving the background around him left and right. So you're sort of manipulating where Sonic goes and how you bounce him around the positions and stuff. And it takes a little getting used to, but I think it's pretty enjoyable. I don't care how controversial this game is, I still think the soundtrack is fantastic. Listening to the Splash Hill themes, I like that every single act has a different theme, so it's not just the same theme the entire zone. You could have a different kind of song with Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and I like that a lot. But it's just filled with so much energy and peppiness, and it definitely feels a little closer to those Sega Genesis titles we used to listen to all the time, because there's a lot of drum samples in the music that sound like they came from a Sega Genesis, that little like that Sega Genesis drum sound, you know what I mean? And the music is just so lively, so peppy, and it was just such a refreshing change of pace to come back to this stuff after stuff like Unleashed, Black Knight, Chronicles 06 and stuff, you know, to see this, like even in terms of the 2D games, you gotta remember guys, even the handheld games have been going pretty far from the old classic days. You know, they have ranking systems now. Now there's a boost thing with the Sonic Rush games where you boost when you have to go places and you want to hit enemies and stuff. It doesn't feel like it used to anymore. It doesn't feel like the good old 90s days. And so when Sonic 4 came out, I just thought it was a nice breath of fresh air. I just thought it was a nice return to form of why we liked Sonic in the first place. And why we like Sonic in the first place is pretty important to remember, you know? I think these levels float perfectly well. I don't care about, like, all the dash pads that some people complain about with Dimps games. So what? They're dash pads. It's like going through a loop-de-loop in the old games. There's this moment where you have a thrill ride and you don't play for, like, 2 or 3 seconds. Who cares? Isn't that kind of the fun about Sonic, seeing him zip and zoom and bounce all over the place? I don't know, it was for me. That's how it was in Sonic Adventure, when you're bouncing off the numbered pads. I just feel like that's what Sonic is. Who cares if there's dash pads, you know? I'll be getting into the momentum and stuff when I get to the casino level, because there's something very obvious that I'd like to show off with the level design there, but yeah. I really like this game. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's better than Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But I do think that it is an enjoyable romp that, if it were called something else, if it were called Sonic Downloadable, or Sonic, I don't know, Sonic Mini Venture, or something, I don't know what the hell they'd call it, but people seem to get hung up on the fact that it's called Sonic the Hedgehog 4. There's an expectation there that's like, it doesn't play exactly like the classic games, therefore it is bad. I am telling you, this game is not bad. I think Sonic 4 is a perfectly fine, playable game that brings you back to why you liked Sonic back in the good old days. And I think it flows well, and I think the level design's perfectly fine. I don't think there's too many bottomless pits. I don't think that it's frustrating and you're constantly running into enemies or anything. I actually think it's really competently done. I think it's really competently done, if I do say so myself. Now, the first part, we already have 3 Chaos Emeralds. This is not a super long game, by the way. This is not a super long game at all. So we should be done this game pretty quickly, but oh boy. There's actually 4 acts with every stage, and instead of fighting the boss at the end of Act 3, now there's an entire act dedicated to the boss, and it's Dr. Eggman in his Eggmobile, just like the classic days. And oh, just like the classic days, he's got a ball and chain, and I can just bounce into him multiple times, really quickly. I don't have to wait for tells or openings like the Sonic Rush games. It feels like a classic boss fight. The music is pumping up, and that means he's got that move where he throws the ball and chain like that. And you can dodge it very easily just by hanging to the very left or right of the screen. But you can just jump into him normally, or you can bounce into him with a homing attack, but you want to hit him like 8 or 9 times. I actually hit a lot of invincibility frames there, which I've never done before recording this game. So if it seems like I hit him way too much before he died, I was hitting a lot of invincibility frames, which isn't a common problem with Sonic 4, not usually. But that was a 47-second boss fight. Keep that in mind when we get to Episode 2, because I think that's one of the reasons I like the bosses in Episode 1 better than Episode 2. But yeah, that was Splash Hill Zone, ladies and gentlemen, and I still think this game is fantastic. I think this game is really fun. I love the music. It's definitely why I like Sonic. It's why I like Sonic. Very different from the classic games. You actually get to choose what level you play next. And that's why we're on this map right now. I'm showing that you can actually go right to Lost Labyrinth Zone, Mad Gear Zone, or you can go to the Casino Zone. If you play, push Y at the end of every stage, and it tells you to like go to the next act. Finishing the Splash Hill boss will take you directly to the Casino Street level, so I'm going to be doing Casino Street next. We may be seeing some slot machines. We may be seeing something that is very reminiscent of Casino Night Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, just saying. But before I go, you may have heard the Eggman boss theme as I was talking over it. Would you believe that is actually an unused track from one of the 90s classic Sonic games? Oh yeah! It's not an original composition for this game. This is actually an unused track from Sonic 3D Blast. And so I figured I would play the 2 tunes together. I actually did this in the 3D Blast Let's Play as well, but whatever. So I hope you stay tuned for part 2, ladies and gentlemen. Till then, toodles.